People don't always tell you they think you're weak. They just show you. And the scary part, most of the time, you don't even notice it. If you've ever felt overlooked, disrespected, or like your presence doesn't carry weight, pay attention, because these signs will reveal exactly when someone sees you as weak. 1. They exploit your kindness. Kindness is one of the most misunderstood traits in human relationships. When someone sees you as weak, your willingness to help, your patience, or your empathy isn't seen as a strength. It's seen as a doorway. They see your generosity as a resource they can drain, a tool to get what they want, without giving anything in return. Exploitation doesn't happen overnight. It starts small, with little requests, favors, or helpful suggestions, and gradually grows until you're doing more for them than you ever thought possible, while they contribute little to nothing. Why it happens? The reason people exploit kindness is simple. They're looking for someone they can manipulate without pushback. Humans are wired to notice vulnerability, and unfortunately, kindness can sometimes be mistaken for that. If you avoid confrontation, feel guilty about saying no, or worry about hurting someone else's feelings, it signals to them that you're an easy target. They don't see your heart, they see opportunity, your patience, your willingness to help, your desire to avoid conflict. All of these are interpreted not as admirable qualities, but as weaknesses to exploit. Think about it. A kind person doesn't just offer help, they often offer more help than anyone asks for. A weak person doesn't say no, even when it's inconvenient. That combination is irresistible to someone who wants to take advantage of others. How to stop it? The solution is deceptively simple, but it requires discipline, boundaries. Boundaries don't make you unkind, they make you strong. Setting limits is saying, I'm willing to help, but only on my terms. Learning to say no, without feeling guilty, is a muscle you must exercise daily. It can feel uncomfortable at first, because you might fear conflict or disappointing someone, but discomfort is a sign you're growing stronger. Your energy, time, and resources are finite. Protecting them doesn't make you selfish, it makes you respected. Relatable example, imagine you work in an office. One co-worker, let's call him John, always asks you to cover his shifts or redo parts of his work. At first you help because you're kind, because you want to maintain peace, and because you genuinely don't mind lending a hand once in a while. But slowly, it becomes a pattern. John starts expecting you to take on extra tasks automatically, assuming you'll never say no. Your kindness has been exploited. One day, you decide to draw a line. Instead of reacting with anger, you calmly tell John, I can help this one time, but I won't be able to cover your shifts every week. That simple boundary changes everything. He can no longer exploit you, and suddenly, your relationship shifts. You haven't become mean or unkind. You've become strong. You've turned your kindness from something to be exploited into something to be respected. Takeaway: kindness without boundaries is a trap. People exploit weakness, not strength. Protecting your generosity and time isn't cruel, it's necessary. True kindness doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means giving when and how you choose to, on your own terms. When you combine empathy with clear boundaries, people will respect you more, not less. Weakness invites exploitation, but strength, calm, measured, and kind, commands respect. 2. They use you as a punching bag. One of the clearest signs that someone sees you as weak is when they use you as their emotional, or sometimes even verbal, punching bag. And no, I don't mean physical violence. It's the way they unload their frustrations, their anger, and their bitterness onto you, because they assume you won't push back. They see you as the safe target, the one person who will sit there and absorb all their negativity without consequence. Why it happens? People lash out where they feel the least resistance. Think about it. Most people won't dare snap at their boss, insult someone stronger than them, or vent their rage at someone who might fight back. But the moment they sense that you won't retaliate, you become their release valve. They bottle up stress, insecurity, and anger throughout their day, and instead of dealing with it in a healthy way, they dump it on you. It's not because you deserve it, it's because in their eyes you're the easiest target. When someone sees you as weak, they assume two things about you. First, that you won't stand up for yourself, and second, that you'll keep coming back even after they've mistreated you. That's why some people are polite, even charming, around strangers or authority figures, yet suddenly cruel and dismissive around you. They've labeled you as safe, and safe, in their mind, means weak. How to stop it? The solution here is brutal, but necessary. You must refuse to be anyone's punching bag. That doesn't mean you respond with equal anger or aggression that just drags you down to their level. It means you calmly but firmly shut the behavior down. The next time someone unloads their frustrations onto you, interrupt them. Don't sit quietly while they tear into you. Say something like, "I understand you're upset, but I won't let you talk to me this way." If they continue, walk away. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Some relationships will end when you stop being the punching bag. But that's a good thing, because if someone only keeps you around to dump on, they're not valuing you, they're using you. Respect yourself enough to cut off access to anyone who treats you like their emotional trash can. Relatable example. Let's say you're in a relationship. Your partner has a rough day at work. Instead of venting in a healthy way or working through it, they come home and immediately snap at you, complaining about dinner, criticizing your choices, or picking fights over small things. This becomes a pattern. Whenever life goes wrong, you pay the price. At first you excuse it because you're kind. You tell yourself they're just stressed. But over time, you notice they never talk to their friends or co-workers like this. They save it for you. Why? Because they believe you'll tolerate it. You've been labeled the safe target. One day, you've had enough. The next time it happens, instead of apologizing or staying silent, you calmly tell them, "I won't accept being treated like this. If you need to vent, find another way, but don't put it on me." At first, they might be shocked, even angry, because you've broken the role they assigned you. But with consistency, they'll either learn to respect your boundary or they'll leave. And either outcome is a win for you, because you've reclaimed your dignity. Takeaway: when someone uses you as a punching bag, they're not showing strength, they're showing cowardice. It takes no courage to attack someone who won't fight back. But it takes immense strength to recognize when you're being exploited and to shut it down. Remember this: you don't exist to absorb anyone's anger, stress, or insecurity. You're not a dumping ground. You're a human being worthy of respect. The moment you stop being a punching bag, you stop being seen as weak, and you start being respected. 3. They patronize you. Few things sting more than being patronized. It's that condescending tone people use when they talk to you as if you're a child, clueless or somehow beneath them. They exaggerate their words, over-explain simple things, or give you that smug little smile that says, "You wouldn't get it anyway." Patronizing behavior is one of the clearest signs someone secretly sees you as weak, because they're not treating you as an equal. They're treating you as someone who needs to be talked down to. Why it happens? People patronize for one reason: they think they're superior to you. It could be intellectual superiority, financial superiority, social superiority, or even just confidence. In their eyes, you lack the power, knowledge, or status to be treated with full respect. That's why a coworker might dumb down their words when talking to you, or a so-called friend might speak in a slow, exaggerated tone, as if you couldn't possibly grasp the obvious. Sometimes, people don't even realize they're doing it. It's subconscious. But whether intentional or not, the message is the same: you're not on my level. And when you accept patronizing behavior without addressing it, you reinforce the idea that you're willing to play the weaker role in the dynamic. How to stop it? The worst way to deal with patronizing behavior is silence. If you don't push back, you send the signal that it's acceptable. But the solution isn't to blow up in anger either. That only makes you look reactive. The key is calm, assertive interruption. When someone talks down to you, call it out politely but firmly. For example, if a coworker over-explains something basic, you can say, "I understand, you don't need to break it down further." Or, if a friend uses that condescending tone, you can respond with, "You don't have to talk to me like that. I get it." These small but powerful statements stop the behavior in its tracks. Over time, people learn that you're not someone who tolerates being talked down to. Respect follows clarity. Relatable example: imagine you're in a meeting at work. You make a suggestion, and one of your colleagues responds with an exaggerated smile and says, "Oh, that's cute." But here's how it really works. They use a tone that's dripping with condescension, as if you were a child trying to join the adult's conversation. The room chuckles. You feel small. In the past, you might have laughed it off or gone quiet, but this time you decide to reclaim your ground. You calmly reply, "There's nothing cute about it. It's a legitimate suggestion. If you disagree, explain why." Suddenly, the tone of the room shifts. You've made it clear that you won't accept being diminished. The person who tried to patronize you now looks defensive because you've refused to play into their power game. Takeaway: patronizing behavior is a subtle form of disrespect. It's not always loud or aggressive, but it's corrosive because it slowly chips away at your confidence and position if you let it slide. People who see you as weak will use it to reinforce their superiority and keep you beneath them. The solution isn't aggression, but calm strength. Stop the behavior the moment it happens, and don't let anyone drag you into a role that's smaller than you are. Here's the truth: the way people talk to you is a reflection of how they see you. If they talk down to you, they don't see you as an equal, and if you accept it, you confirm their perception. But the moment you demand equal treatment, not through shouting, but through steady self-respect, you stop being the person who gets patronized. You stop being seen as weak, and you start being treated as an equal. 4. They exclude you from decisions. One of the clearest signs someone sees you as weak is when they deliberately cut you out of decisions, whether it's in the workplace, within a group of friends, or even in your own family. Pay attention. When people respect you, they value your input. They don't just keep you in the loop. They actively seek your opinion, but when they see you as weak, they treat you as invisible. You're not a decision maker, you're just a spectator. Why it happens? Exclusion happens because people don't believe your perspective carries weight. They assume your ideas won't change the outcome. Or worse, that you'll simply go along with whatever they decide. In other words, they see you as powerless, and power in human relationships is always tied to influence. If you're not influencing decisions, you're signaling that you're at the bottom of the hierarchy. Think of it like this. The people at the table decide the direction of things. The ones left out just follow along. When you're excluded, they're telling you without words, you don't matter enough to shape the outcome. Sometimes it's intentional. People purposely keep you out because they don't respect you. Other times, it's subconscious. They've already filed you under non-influential, so they don't even think of involving you. Either way, the message is the same. You're not taken seriously. How to stop it? You can't wait for people to suddenly invite you to the table. You have to pull up a chair yourself. That means asserting your presence and your input. At work, if your team is making decisions without you, start asking questions. What's the plan? Here's my perspective. With friends or family, don't just let them move forward without your say. Step in. I'd like to have a say in this. But here's the hard truth. If you've been excluded consistently, it's usually because you've allowed it. You've played the passive role for too long. Changing that dynamic requires you to stop waiting for permission and start demanding your place in the conversation. Calmly, confidently, and consistently. Relatable example. Imagine you're part of a project at work. A big decision is made, deadlines shifted, tasks reassigned, but you weren't consulted. You only find out afterward, when the plan is already in motion. It stings, because it feels like you don't matter. At first you stay quiet, thinking, it's fine, I'll just adapt, but it happens again and again, until you realize you've been sidelined. Your co-workers don't see you as a decision maker. The next time it happens, instead of quietly accepting it, you speak up. I wasn't included in that discussion, but since I'm part of this project, I'd like to make sure my input is considered moving forward. You don't say it aggressively, you say it firmly. That one sentence changes the room. Suddenly they realize you won't allow yourself to be ignored anymore. Takeaway: being excluded is painful, but it's also revealing. It tells you exactly how others see you, either as a peer worth including, or as someone irrelevant to the outcome. If you're constantly being cut out of decisions, it's because they don't view you as strong enough to influence them. But here's the truth. Strength isn't about being invited. It's about asserting your voice, even when others try to silence it. If you want respect, you can't play the passive observer. You must step into the role of participant, of influencer, of decision maker. Because if you don't shape the decisions, you'll always be shaped by them. And that's exactly how weak people are kept weak, by staying silent when they should be speaking up. 5. They make you the butt of their jokes. Laughter is powerful. It can connect people, build bonds, and lighten tension. But it can also be used as a weapon. When someone consistently makes you the butt of their jokes, it's not just harmless fun, it's a signal. They don't see you as someone to respect, they see you as someone safe to mock. Because here's the truth, people rarely joke at the expense of someone they fear, admire, or consider strong. They joke at the expense of those they think won't push back. Why it happens? Humor can disguise disrespect. Some people use it as a shield, because it lets them say something cruel under the cover of just kidding. But behind every harmless jab, there's truth. If someone is always picking on you, it's because they believe you'll tolerate it. They see you as weak enough to be the punching bag of the group. And it's not just about the jokes themselves, it's about the pattern. Maybe you're the one whose mistakes always get exaggerated. Maybe your insecurities are constantly turned into funny stories. Maybe your personality or appearance is used as comedic relief. Over time, the group laughs while you shrink. And whether you realize it or not, you start to play the role they've assigned you. The joke, not the equal. How to stop it? The biggest mistake people make when they're mocked is nervously laughing along. By laughing with them, you confirm the role. It's okay, I accept being the clown here. But strength means you don't let people use humor as a weapon against you. That doesn't mean you need to explode with anger. In fact, the most powerful response is calm and cutting. If someone makes a joke at your expense, you can call it out directly. That wasn't funny. Don't do that again. Or you can deflect it with strength. Interesting how the only jokes you can make are about me. Running out of material. The goal isn't to humiliate them back, but to send a clear message. I'm not your clown. When people realize they can't get easy laughs at your expense, they stop. Relatable example. Picture a group of friends hanging out. One of them cracks a joke about you being the lazy one or the awkward one. Everyone laughs. You force a smile, but inside, it stings. Later they joke again, this time about your appearance. Once again, everyone laughs, and once again, you stay quiet. Over time, you notice a pattern. You've become the go-to target. One day it happens again. Someone mocks your clothing in front of the group. But this time, instead of fake laughing, you look them dead in the eye and say, "You've got a lot to say about me for someone who hasn't looked in the mirror today." The group laughs, but this time, at them, and more importantly, the power dynamic shifts. You've shown you're not afraid to push back. You've broken the image of being safe to mock. Takeaway: being the butt of jokes isn't just about humor, it's about hierarchy. It's how people establish who's on top and who's on the bottom. If you're always the punchline, it means they see you as the lowest in the room. But you don't have to accept that role. The moment you stop laughing along, the moment you push back with calm confidence, you destroy the perception of weakness. Here's the truth. Strong people aren't the ones constantly making jokes at others' expense. They're the ones who command respect without needing to mock anyone. And weak people aren't born weak. They become weak by tolerating roles that diminish them. So stop being the punchline. Demand respect, because the moment you refuse to be the clown in someone else's story, you stop being seen as weak, and you start being seen as someone to take seriously. 6. They never apologize to you. Pay close attention to the way people handle their mistakes around you. If someone repeatedly wrongs you but never apologizes, it's not because they forgot, it's because they don't believe they need to. When someone sees you as weak, they assume you'll forgive, tolerate, and move on without requiring accountability. In their mind, apologizing is unnecessary because you'll accept their behavior no matter what. Why it happens? Apologies are a sign of respect. When someone apologizes sincerely, they're saying, "I acknowledge I hurt you, and I value you enough to make it right." If you rarely or never hear apologies from someone who mistreats you, it's because they don't value your feelings at that level. They don't think your disappointment has consequences. And here's the deeper layer. People who never apologize often see admitting fault as a power shift. To them, apologizing puts them beneath you, if only for a moment. So if they see you as weak, they won't waste that humility on you. They'll save their apologies for people they fear losing, bosses, respected friends, or people with status, while treating you like someone who will stick around no matter what. How to stop it? The only way to end this pattern is to stop rewarding it. If you allow someone to mistreat you without ever demanding accountability, they'll never change. That doesn't mean throwing a tantrum or begging for an apology. It means calmly enforcing consequences. For example, if someone crosses a boundary and refuses to acknowledge it, you distance yourself. You don't just move on. You show them through your actions that your respect must be earned, not assumed. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is step away. The people who never apologize are banking on the idea that you'll always return, no matter how they treat you. Prove them wrong. Nothing forces someone to reflect, like realizing access to you isn't guaranteed. Relatable example: imagine a friend constantly makes plans and then cancels last minute, wasting your time. The first few times, you brush it off. You tell yourself, it's not a big deal, they're just busy, but it keeps happening. They never apologize, just act like it's normal, because they see you as someone who will tolerate it. One day, after yet another cancelled plan, they text you again like nothing happened. But instead of laughing it off, you reply, "I value my time. If you can't stick to plans, I won't keep making them." You don't yell, you don't argue, you simply set the boundary. The next time they want to cancel, they'll think twice, and if they don't, then you know the truth. They never respected you in the first place. Takeaway: when people never apologize to you, it's not forgetfulness. It's a reflection of how little they value your feelings. Respect and accountability go hand in hand. If someone refuses to own their mistakes, it's because they don't see you as strong enough to require it. But here's the truth: strength isn't about demanding apologies with anger. It's about refusing to tolerate repeated disrespect without consequence. The people who value you will apologize. The people who don't will reveal themselves when you stop letting things slide. And when you stop being the person who accepts sorry less disrespect, you stop being seen as weak and start being treated as someone who commands respect. 7. They don't respect your time. One of the clearest signs that someone secretly sees you as weak is how they treat your time. Time is the most valuable thing you have. It's the only resource you can never get back. Yet when a person constantly disregards your time, it's their subtle way of saying, "Your life revolves around me. My priorities matter more than yours." Think about it. The friend who always shows up 30 minutes late, but expects you to wait patiently. The coworker who drops last-minute tasks on your desk right before you're about to leave, assuming you'll just handle it. The partner who takes hours to reply, but gets angry if you don't respond instantly. These aren't accidents, they're signals. And those signals point to one thing: they don't see your time as valuable, which means they don't fully respect you. Why it happens? This usually happens when people sense that you'll tolerate it. If you never speak up, if you laugh it off when they waste your time, if you always rearrange your schedule to suit theirs, they quickly learn that your boundaries are elastic. Some people don't even do this out of malice. It's simply human nature. When someone gives us too much leeway, we start assuming it's endless. But here's the deeper truth: people who truly respect you will always respect your time. If they don't, it's because they don't view you as someone they need to prioritize. And let's be blunt, sometimes people test you on purpose. They'll accidentally be late or forget a meeting just to see how you react. If you brush it off, they know they can get away with more. If you call it out, they realize you're not someone to treat carelessly. The trap of silence. The biggest trap here is silence. You tell yourself, it's not worth making a big deal about. You wait, you forgive, you adapt. And every time you do, you teach them that your time is disposable. Before long, you'll notice a pattern. They're never late for the boss, but they're always late for you. They never cancel plans with people they admire, but somehow they always flake on you. That's not coincidence, it's hierarchy. They're showing you where you stand in their mental ranking. A relatable example: imagine this: you have a friend who constantly invites you out, but every time you show up, you end up waiting alone for 20-30 minutes. They arrive with a laugh and a casual, "Sorry, I lost track of time." At first you brush it off. After all, everyone's late sometimes. But it keeps happening, over and over. You notice something strange. When they meet other friends, they're on time. When it's work-related, they're early. But with you, they never feel the need to hurry. That's not just bad habits. It's disrespect, disguised as carelessness. How to stop it? The only way to fix this is by setting hard boundaries. You can't force people to respect your time. You have to teach them how to. That means if someone shows you they don't respect it, you stop rewarding them with your patience. If a friend is consistently late, stop waiting. Tell them, "If you're not here by 7:15, I'm leaving," and follow through. If a coworker dumps tasks on you last minute, learn to say, "I can get to this tomorrow, but today's packed." If someone cancels on you repeatedly, don't keep rescheduling, pull back. And here's the paradox: when you start valuing your own time, others suddenly start valuing it too. People can sense when you have self-respect. They can also sense when you're desperate for their approval. Final thought: people who respect you will respect your time, period. If someone constantly wastes it, they're sending you a message: "I don't take you seriously." The question is, are you going to accept that message or rewrite it by drawing the line? Because when you start protecting your time, you're not just protecting your schedule, you're protecting your dignity. At the end of the day, people only treat you the way you allow them to. If they see you as weak, it's not always because they're cruel. It's often because you've trained them to believe your time, your boundaries, and your respect are negotiable. But here's the truth: the moment you stop tolerating disrespect, everything changes. Some people will walk away, others will get angry, but the ones who stay, the ones who adjust, are the ones worth keeping around. So stop giving endless chances. Stop laughing off insults. Stop letting people walk over you in the name of keeping the peace. Weakness isn't kindness, and silence isn't strength. You don't need to shout or fight. You just need to stand firm. Respect starts with you. And if you don't demand it, don't be surprised when no one else gives it.